Borderlands, the pre-sequel, or probably better known as the, it's fine, it's fine. Better known as the Australian one. So I naturally have a bias because I am Australian. So, all right, in the pecking order, I mean it's interesting. I think that's how I'll describe it. So what makes the pre-sequel different is that you're lower gravity, and there's you have a lot more in space missions, and it's the origin stories of Jack, the handsome Jack. So the villain in Borderlands 2, and it's about how he became the villain, what circumstances were around it. Was he predispositioned, or was it sort of more of a he had to be harsh and tough to survive in this harsh world, otherwise he'd be killed. And it's it's like every Borderlands game, they do have consistency when it comes to that sort of good shooting, good mechanics, workable stuff. This is the hub area, which is pretty good. You'd have more verticality because you can use oxygen to boost, so you can jump and boost, and so you can climb around all around these areas. You can get more height, and you'd have oxygen to worry about. So in the open areas, where's a good place? Try Plus will do. In the open areas, when you're playing a character who breathes oxygen, you have to worry about oxygen. So, but the best thing is, I'm playing a character who does not breathe oxygen, because I am Claptrap, the robot. Iconic Claptrap. So this is the only game where you can play as Claptrap, which, honestly, there should be more where you can play as Claptrap. It's a bit ridiculous. So this is the Hyperion, it's a lot of H. So yeah, this is a Hyperion base where you start, where you go to help Handsome Jack because he hires you. And you go through a series, this story, it's okay. It's probably one of the weaker stories. The really only thing that matters is the character development of Handsome Jack. As for the actual characters here, Claptrap gets his memory wiped at the end, so, big spoilers, but not really. So there's a lot of similarities with Borderlands 2, but really it's the story's nowhere near as good. I'll talk about Borderlands 2 soon. But both of these are part of the Handsome collection, but I did want to do separate game reviews just to be, to be fair. Because you used to be able to buy them separate, and you really can't anymore. I mean, unless you really try hard to get the original versions. But, it was interesting, different biomes, different areas, and just great verticality. Lots of Australian characters, lots of Australian voice acting. So this is why it's called the Australian game. Yes, there are cars and things. I just was, I'll be fine. Claptrap in particular has a randomization, so his abilities are always random. It's like I summon a minion that shoots rockets. But the other characters, they do appear later on in the series. The Ice Lady, who's related to the Hunter. Oh goddamn, what's her name again? She loves money. That should be enough. And she uses ice powers, which is really interesting. The lady with the shield. Yeah, pretty much meh. You have different, healing and gunshot people. So the different healing lady. Oh, is there a fast travel around here somewhere? Sure there is. Sure there is. Am I blind? Am I blind? Where is it? Oh, elevator right there. What am I doing? You still have, you know, similar map system. A lot of the systems are similar, well, pretty much the same as number 2. You know, you got your different, except you have the oxygen slot, so the O2 kit, which has various bonuses. But if you don't like Australian accents, which again, maybe you're not watching this video for that reason, you never know. But if you don't, then you won't like this game, because there's a lot of Australian accents. Again, this has to do with being made in Australia, 2K Australia. 2K Australia, mate. But, yeah, is that a fast... Oh, god damn it. Where's my fast travel? Oh, let's just go to the industrial facility. So there's various facilities, corporate owned. There's a lot of behind the scenes corporate games going on in this, along with the bad guys, which are trying to take over the facility, and that's who you're fighting against.
It was probably put there by scavs who used pads like that to sneak in and out of Concordia.
Yes. We had all the DLC, which I'm not gonna... Let's just go to Jack's office. There's a lot of DLC, which is good. I mean, there's always DLC in Borderlands games. They've been really good in that regard. A consistent amount, you know, 4 or 5 extra zone type things or different situational missions, and they do have, you know, some story elements, and it's always good. That's one of the things they've been great at, because they do charge for them, but it's... I think they don't overcharge for them. I think, you know, you can always argue things are too expensive, but I think they're fair, pretty fair. So there's our man, the Jackster himself.
When I need you, I'll call. Don't wander too far. Something always comes up. When I need you, I'll call.
Yeah. So you're helping Jack. So it's kind of the, oh, you're working with one of the bad guys, and but he's not so bad. He's a hero sort of at the start, and then you sort of work your way through it. So it's all about just the character development. The overall bad guys aren't particularly memorable, which is probably the disappointment of the game, to be frank. So I'll go to research and development. It's one of the weaker parts of the games. Is, I suppose, the strength of Borderlands 2 is why we even have this pre-sequel designed in the way it is that Handsome Jack's such an important character, and that's why you can have a game based on, you know, how he became who he became. But it's let's go to Petey's Fall. But what are the problems? What are the problems? It's just really the story is... The last third of the story, I think, is where it's weak. It doesn't have an eventful end. Yes, you know, Jack's bad, but you can kind of see the writing on the wall halfway through that he's going to become bad. You know, it's not a surprise at the end. The mercenaries you play as aren't as memorable in terms of the characters, so... They just... Except for Claptrap. You know, Claptrap, who's in the series, but, you know, it still feels like they are just lesser characters. They're not treated with the same respect. Again, you could say the same for Borderlands 2's playable characters, that they don't get that much spotlight, but then they get a bit back in Borderlands 3. Even Ice Lady's in Borderlands 3 from this game. But I don't know, I think, you know, Borderlands 1's characters lived on, and they've been reinforced really, really strongly as the backbone of, you know, the series. I don't think you could say the same for these guys. I mean, one of them becomes a giant fighting robot for Jack in Borderlands 2, and you beat him as a boss. So there's that sort of cyclical loop there. But it's kind of against his will. I don't think he's really got much sentience at that point. He's kind of a cyborg, cybernetic slave. But, you know, that's all story stuff. What matters is the shooting, and the shooting's always good. The shooting's pretty goddamn consistent. Side missions are generally trying to be funny, but again, there's an oversaturation, and I can say it because I'm Australian, oversaturation in Australian accents, sort of history references, slang. Yeah, slang is the way to go. It's too much Australian slang. And again, you're killing, you know, heaps of anonymous enemies, as always in Borderlands, but... You do have laser weapons, which was a good thing to have in the game. And all the different elements. And you have ice, so it's really ice was kind of the big change. But I suppose I was annoyed. The way Claptrap is integrated in the game is all his abilities are detrimental. Like they all have like some positive, but then a negative. So it does kind of. I want him to be a little bit more taken seriously, but he's a joke character after all. But so much of his abilities. And this one I turn into a pirate ship, so...
This time it'll be awesome, I promise!
See what sort of ability we get. Lonely mode. But at least it's funny. How funny the game is will really depend on you. So I feel like it's not... Because the story isn't as strong towards the end. And you are, you're working for a guy who is good but is becoming bad. You feel bad. There is actually an emotional sort of weight. I feel like that lingers over the game. So the replayability isn't there as much as, say, Borderlands 2. And that's where its failing is. You can just compare it to, it's a Borderlands 2.5. When it is, it's not a short game. It's just always compared to it. It's kind of in the shadow. And then all the Australian voices and people thinking that, Australians are cheap and that's why they get to be the voices. And maybe there's some truth to that, and maybe there isn't, who knows. Kind of, weighs the game down. Let's go back to Concordia. Oh, Serenity Waste is actually nice too. There's a couple features. Oh, we'll go to Concordia and explain the features. So they try a couple different little things. Not too much, not too crazy. Mostly sticking with, the tried and true. You got your... Oh, I'll show you the vehicles. Let's do the vehicles. You've got your bounty board stuff, but it's not as crazy or anything. You got Stingrays who can jump, moon buggy. So I'll show you the moon buggy. It's just basic car, And then I'll... what do we do? Okay. So you got the same driving mechanics as the previous games. Yes, I'm a snowman. But you got more laser weapons. But I suppose the laser weapons aren't too crazy heavy a focus in this game, so it is more... They're just like an addition that sort of fits the theme. Enemy varieties all pretty reasonable, nothing too crazy or too memorable. I do feel like Borderlands 2 has more memorable sort of enemies, but it is what it is in that regard. Now, the one thing that did carry over, I'll go back to the thing, just show you that quick, is the badass. Get out. Yeah. We have the skills. So the badass ranks, I think they're they must be shared, because goodness me, I've got a lot. Shared between the two games. So the badass rank, I'll go in more detail about the badass rank in Borderlands 2 review, because, reflection or review, whatever you want to call it. Because it is more appropriate for that. But it still carries over, and the badass rank system is the best system they've come up with. I mean, full stop. It's the best one though. So you can do a number of challenges, or just playing the game normally, and you get a whole bunch of bonuses. So I got bonus, I got max health, shield capacity, shield recharge, delay, all that stuff, melee damage, gun accuracy, gun damage, just straight damage, just in small increments. And it just sort of, as you play through the game a lot with different characters, it really builds up. So it's really good. So I will go and check if it does go over. I'm pretty sure it does. Back to Concordia to show you the last of the features. How would I rate the game? I think this is just a fair 7 out of 10. I think. I mean, it's not... I feel like it's just the story isn't as amazing towards the end. It's the last third just sort of And the inevitable sadness of, you know, Jack being bad, sort of. It is something you just sort of go like, oh. Yeah, it's not that you can't see it coming. So this is a recycling the grinder. You can grind. There's a bunch of weapon combos. You can grind 3 of them together and create a different kind of weapon. So 2 are the same, and then 1 of a different one. You get the one that's 2 of the same. And you can sort of grind with the currency you find. The special currency you can use to, you know, get higher rarity stuff. But there's only a limited number of weapons you get in there, and you get a sort of a consistency. She's not even talking. Do I even have sound on? I do. Music is on 0. Dialogue is on 10. Is she music? Okay, is what it is. But it's interesting. I think it is, you know, different to the previous 2 games, which are on a planet, localized on a planet. This one is on a... Is it a moon? Asteroid? Moon. Moon? And yeah, you can see the planet there. And it's got the purple stuff. So it's kind of the first step into space. So I think a big part of, you know, why, you know, Borderlands 3 is the way it is because they have done Borderlands Pre-Sequel and gone outside of the Borderlands, outside of the original planet, and actually, you know, gone into the wider space, which again, hopefully in Borderlands 4 they embrace even more, but we'll see what happens. So we'll get to that. But yeah, tell me what you think. You know, what do you think of Borderlands Pre-Sequel? Did you think it was better than Borderlands 2? Because if you did, that'd be weird. Maybe you did. Do you think it's better than Borderlands 1? I think that's kind of where the argument is. I don't think it is. But it's not a terrible game or anything. It's just, it's very Australian, and the story at the end just, you know, because you know where it's going. You know where it's going with Handsome Jack. You know where it's going to go. So there's not a lot of room for optimism or, you know. And your own role in it is, I suppose, the part that's diminished. Because you know you're not going to be able to stop. You're not killing Handsome Jack. You're not saving the day. But you can stop them using the laser to destroy the planet. Because the bad guys are trying to use it. But it's not that convoluted plot. That sort of weird alien creature. But, you know, that's nothing too big to focus on. You got the... Oh, get out of the way. You got your storage for your equipment. So, all that sort of stuff. I don't even have anything in there because I can't be bothered. Yeah, that. But yeah, it's certainly... Oh, I'll show you the main feature. The main feature, of course.
So the mirror's dead.
You do have these limited buffs you can do. I never used them once. So you do have a special currency that you can find that allows you to buy these bonuses and to do the slots. You can earn it from the slots. Let's do both. What do we get? So slots return, which, you know, is a feature of Borderlands 2. Damn it, I want to get some goddamn blue stuff. Is what it is. Alright, and there is... Wait, she's gone? Where'd she go? Bugger. Moxie is supposed to be around here somewhere. In like a cowboy outfit. I'm sorry. I deprived you of seeing Moxie. These are the DJs. But yeah, music is fine. Nothing massively memorable. Yeah, the stupid golden key crates, shit. Customization, you know, it's alright. Claptrap. Oh, jeez. Some of these, man. Some of these. And, you know, they're not something to worry about too much. And you have online playing with other people, which I'm not sure if anyone's still doing that for this one. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You know, unless you can still do. Oh, it always had split screen co-op, which is always great, and I think I always appreciated that in the Borderlands series. It's something that needs to be said. It's a great thing. More games should do it. More games should have split screen, local co-op.
Setting waste on fire is a punishable offense. Boom! Ticket. Show me what you got.
Oh, I forgot I can do
Take
fire.
that. Bop. Hi-ya!
So Claptrap is annoying, but it is what it is. I mean, he's annoying, but I've always liked him in the series, so he's a good annoying, but sometimes.
Hi-ya!
Yeah, best character, no question. I played the intro, but it's a bit long. Alright then, this has been Frosty 10, just sort of rambling on. That Borderlands Pre-Sequel. It is part of the Handsome Collection, so that's Borderlands 2 and Borderlands Pre-Sequel, so if you get the Handsome Collection cheap, which is cheap now, you're getting good value. You know, Borderlands 2 being awesome, and then this as well. I think tremendous value. I do want, going forward, I would like characters to carry over, because they seem very hesitant to add new ones in DLC, which they didn't do in Borderlands 3. They don't want to add any more characters, which again I think is an interesting decision. The wrong decision probably, but you know, it does depend on their workload and what's the pressure on the devs and all that sort of stuff like that. How hard it is and the complications. Whether they feel like they don't want to hold back characters through paid DLC, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's an important game when it comes to building the universe, Borderlands universe, but you know, ultimately the last third of the game is the part that it's hard to remember at times, because it's like, oh, what did I finish that game? And then, oh yeah, I did. Oh, now I remember. Oh, so if you have similar feelings or different feelings and different emotions, interested to hear them in the comments. Like and subscribe, or don't like or don't subscribe, either one. You know, I prefer you to like and subscribe because it's always nice. Alright then. Where's it good? Where does the second... There you go. I'll just go over here. Quick. Oh, get out of the way! Bloody signs. Alright. Oh, we'll look that way. That's probably better. Yeah. So I'll catch you next time. Bye.